Today we're returning to Goryo's. I guess how do I start this? So I started to work on this kind of build when we were in our monument to endurance phase, where we had monument to endurance of this kind of shell as like a plan B to your Goryo shell. And the idea was that you would Goryo's a Griselbrand, and then you would draw a bunch of cards, and then you would play a bunch of Moxen, and then you'd play Sheoldred, and you draw more cards, and then you draw your whole deck, and then you would Goryo's a Borborygmos. So that was how this deck functioned in its first draft. And I got a lot of comments about Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Makes a lot of sense. Like, you're really in on Griselbrand, and you're really in on Mox Opal, so like, can we just put Griselbrand's ability on something? And in that build, I was a little bit worried because in that build, we weren't playing Frog, we were playing Looting, we weren't playing Emry, we weren't playing Tamiyo. And I was worried that we just wouldn't have enough creatures to Cauldron onto. But I've been working on the Cauldron build for a little bit, trying to find the right balance. And I don't know. I think I just kind of found it. And I'll say this too. There have been a lot of comments in general about how the Opal, Amber, Emry, Tamiyo shell, it's gonna be broken somewhere. It's gotta be very strong, and like it's this. I think this combo is the most powerful right now in Jeskai Ascendancy. I've been wanting to find other powerful shells. I've been wanting to try to break it. I've been wanting to try to prove those people right. I don't necessarily agree, but I want to try to maximize this package still. And I think that this might be. This has like some very, very big potential to be one of the best shells for this combo, where just being a deck that's playing Asmo, Emry, Tamiyo, Frog, the Moxen, and Urza Saga, you just have so much resiliency. You have so many plan Bs, in addition to a deck that can kill on turn 2, that can just kill your opponent turn 2, and it just is very, very powerful and hard to interact with. And so I think it's nice that it attacks on both of these angles here while maintaining a really high card quality, which is something that it can be difficult to do in your Goryo's deck, to attack from different angles, maintain high card quality. I am still playing the Monument to Endurances in the sideboard. This is mostly for like Ketramos Frog control. I played against control a lot yesterday, and the Monuments were really, really nice. Anything else? I don't know. Let's get in there. It was, I guess one thing is like when you go Cauldron, Frog, Griselbrand, the Frog just kind of kills them because you discard your whole hand and blast them. So it's kind of another win con. Mild query for you. Is there a way Meddling Mage could work for a deck in the current meta? Meddling Mage is not going to be a card that I would recommend very much in the main deck of the Prowess Boros meta, since those are still like... Maybe Prowess is falling down a little bit, but not very good in the main deck against those. Meddling Mage used to be a pretty good card against Titan, but now they can just do totally fine, not casting Primeval Titan if they have got Cultivator Colossus on their list, and with the Aftermath Analyst loops, it's like Odorora. I think I have to mulligan. I've been staring at Breaching Dragonstorm Invocation and Nexus of Fate for hours, okay. I guess I'm interested to hear how Nexus of Fate ties into that. Okay, good 5-card hand. So I'll say that I've also been staring at Breaching Dragonstorm Invocation. I've been staring at Breaching Dragonstorm in general, thinking to myself, if only Mystic Sanctuary were legal, we could do some really cool stuff with this. Disciple, the 11 months, thank you, welcome back. Almost a year being a medium fan, hell yeah. Let's go. If I'm supposed to discard end of turn. You can cast Nexus off Dragonstorm. Yeah, you can also, so if you could go 5 mana Nexus Dragonstorm Nexus, or you could cast Time Warp for 5 mana, you know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't seem like a particularly good payoff. Alright, so hopefully you can win this turn. You're not deterministic. All right, so we have 1 Moxen. Now we might just want to do a value turn, but we're definitely going to draw at least 14. Yeah, at this point we're not going to be able to Sheoldred and really pop off, it seems. So I think I'm just going to play Asmo and Emry this turn. Maybe it was actually probably bad to grab this cookbook. We also didn't draw... Okay, there's a Cauldron, and there's also a Sheoldred. They kill Emry over Asmo, which just makes sense with the Cauldron in the yard, I guess. Graveyard. Yeah, graveyard. Graveyard. Not a bad mold to 5. So I'm probably getting Mox Amber here. Oh, well. Still getting Mox Amber, I guess. I guess I should have drawn main phase 1, so if I drew Cauldron, I could just Cauldron Frog. I'm going to draw 7 anyways, so... Not going to be a big deal, probably, I think. Well, I didn't draw a Goryo's for the Sheoldred or another Sheoldred. There's the Bobo. And then there's a Cauldron for the Bobo. Martoni with the 3 years. Thank you. Welcome back. So I'm interested in these 3 cards against Boros. The Shadowspear is, I think, just going to come in for like the fair grindy plan, which is important if they draw a lot of graveyard hate. I guess we have the Cauldrons for Flage. We don't need the Spellbomb. And then the Needle can come in for stuff like Ghost Vacuum, which I don't think is... It's like a 1 of or a 0 of these days. But you can also name Bombardment, and you can name a Johnny, which is... So it's like combination anti-Graveyard Hate and... Anti-Graveyard Hate and like fair game plan cards. So I think I still want the Needle, although it's kind of close, maybe. I'm going to trim a Mox Amber. Not sure what else I want to cut. Could cut an Asmo or a Cookbook, even though that should, in theory, be a solid part of the game plan. I think I'm just going to trim 1. We just don't have Oval Chase Daredevil, so it's not as good in this matchup as it usually is. Yeah, you could trim a Saga. I think that's would be totally fine. They do have the Ghost Vacuum, so I'm glad we boarded in the Needle. Not that we have it in our hand, of course. Let's lead on the Shadowspear, so maybe I could go Cauldron, Opal, Emry next turn. What matchup is Monument to Endurance on the side? It's mostly like Ketchabos, Frog, and Control, which I know are not the most common, but I played against like so much Control yesterday that to me it seemed like something I wanted access to. It's also like a little bit of like let's test this plan, you know what I mean? YouTube has been awesome lately. Thank you, and glad you're liking them. So it's good that they're willing to just tap this end of turn. Although I guess if my Emry dies, then I guess we could still just draw a Frog and get in there. This deck could win turn 1 with some Opals. Yeah, I guess you could win turn 1. Turn 2 is a lot easier, but yeah, it might be possible. Yeah, I guess it's just gonna be more important for me to exile the Flage this turn. You can if you Ghost Vacuum and Emry into play, good beats. I guess maybe I should have surveilled first, because if I surveilled a Griselbrand into the yard, then I would not want to tap the Cauldron, or I'd want to target here. Okay, Spyro, discarding Celestial Purge and another Bombardment. They play a Flooded Strand after this, and they pass. Let's not draw that. Not draw that either. Huh. I think that's good enough to draw. Got the Shadowspear in play. It's bad if they have a Johnny, but we're probably not beating a Johnny anyways. The graveyard and Ocelot Pride. The graveyard another copy of Ocelot Pride. They do have the Ajani, so not feeling very optimistic. I just add like this is 10 minus then the 9, then down to 2, then down to 5. I think I go to 1 exactly. I might have miscounted, but I think I survive at exactly 1 life. Yeah. Now, winning the game through this Ghost Vacuum at 1 life, now that seems ambitious. All right, to game 3 we go. Which do you think was more powerful relative to the field at their peak, Energy or Murktide? It's Energy, and it's not close. It's like not even close to being close. When Murktide was at its peak, that was the best Modern has ever been. Everyone on the internet is complaining about Ragavan, and the Murktide deck is so beatable if you want to beat it, and the metagame is like flourishing, and you can brew and innovate, and the Murktide deck is just kind of mid, but people love to play like Izzet decks. Like Murktide is at its peak, just in my opinion, was not a very scary force. Okay, so this is kind of weird. I can turn 1 Basim, but I can't draw a card off of it. And I have a backup Basim. I mean, I think I should keep and play the Basim on turn 1. Yeah, it's years and years later, and Murktide is still mid, and people still love to play it. I don't know. And like Energy at its peak was you could not play an aggro deck, you could not play a control deck, you could not play a mid-range deck because you were going to lose to Energy. It was awful. It was so bad. Is Belcher well positioned or is Trap? Belcher's good. Oh, no. It's a good card to know about, but not a card you love to see. He would win Best Energy or Best Nadu Modern. Best Nadu. Nadu was the best deck in Modern's history. I guess I will just play attack and play a frog here. Yeah, like that already existed, you know what I mean? Like we don't have to wonder about that one, but that was just MH3 Modern after release. I don't think we ever got to see Best Nadu. Oh, they kept a 1-lander? You don't think we ever got to see it? What do you mean by that? You think that there were better builds of Nadu out there that could have existed? Let's fly the frog here. Don't think I'm gonna Goryo's Basim this game. What about Hogak versus Ayavuk and Eldrazi? Would they beat Energy? I don't think so, no. But obviously this is not... I could be wrong, you know? It's not the most It's not the easiest thing to know since it's kind of abstract. Maybe that's not the right word. Hard to say. So they found land number 2, and I guess they could Wrath the Skies. Sorry, I guess I did just commit too much into Wrath the Skies. I don't think it's even close. Not even the best deck ever in Modern. Yeah, I agree. I at the very least, I don't think it's like up for debate, which might be the same effectively. So if we can mill over a Griselbrand with this Emry, that would be a really nice way to rebuild here. We have a Pride and another Pride. So come on. Griselbrand. We could have drawn Griselbrand also and discarded it to the Frog. Ah, we brick. We do still have Bauble in the yard, which is nice. I can also save my Emry from a Galvanic Discharge by Psychic Frog. Yeah, maybe doing that while they're tapped out was better. So this is 1 counter, 2 counters. Then we have the Cauldron to exile the Flage. Now they do get cats end of turn. I think Saffron Olive played a video of Nadu versus Hogak and Hogak won. I think Nadu is better. With all peace of love to Saffron Olive, I don't feel like that's the most relevant data point. It is a data point, which is, you know, not nothing. Sheoldred is so interesting here. I think I just need to dig for Griselbrand. I might Goryo's the Sheoldred and block an Ocelot Pride. Well, the thing is, I kind of need to say I need to be able to go Goryo, Sheoldred, and then Cauldron the Griselbrand onto the thing. Oh, sorry, and then I also need to not get flaged. So I drew Basim. This Kitty's Blessing. I think it's 1 short. Yeah. They got a Thraben Charm me. They Thraben Charm to kill my Emry. So this is 10 damage to Emry. Thinking, is it right for me to Goryo Sheoldred? I think I should go for it. Like, this isn't the most potent thing, but I get to maybe just Cauldron Emry on Sheoldred and then play Basim, and then I get to draw an extra card and just gain 2 more life, and the two life is just so valuable here. Goryo's Emry. Could do that. I was thinking I wanted to Cauldron Emry and do this so I could gain like 4 extra life total. I think I do just want the extra card, although maybe going for like Mox Amber so I could draw like Frog could be better. I don't know. Let's see what their top card is. Could let Emry die and Goryo's it and try to Cauldron onto it. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that this was the line. We have got a 2/2 to block their 1/1s, although we'll see how that goes. Sorry, I need to not F6 so I can discard Griselbrand here. Oh no, sorry, this doesn't have a counter on it. Never mind. Damn it. Tough matches. This deck needs a few more win cons, like 2 Ulapog. I think I disagree. I'll say, of course, Goryo's decks are always very hard to evaluate. Putting back the Emry is a mistake if I draw an Opal or a Bauble. I think I'm going to do it anyways because this is my discard outlet. Of course. Spike, what do you think about a red splash for Tamiyo, Faithless Looting, Fable? Well, we just cut Tamiyo for Basim. I'm not a big fan of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Could you tell me 12 cards that could possibly be cut to make that inclusion? Second Goryo is pretty good if we're up against Frog here. But I cut the Tamiyo because it was pretty awkward, like, if you're trying to Cauldron onto it and flip it. New ideas, updates for Esper version of Goryo's. This is the Goryo's build I'm currently recommending. I know it's not going that well here today, but I'm a believer. Sir Bell, Twitch Prime, thank you, welcome back. Appreciate you. They unearth a frog, leaving some counter magic up. We have a lot of very good top decks here. Not including that one, really. Although next turn we can start to do some stuff. So we do have 4 mana all ready to go next turn if we count the Mox Opal. So I think I'm graveyarding this. I will send cards I think it's a Tommy flips looting on turn 2 and some Goros. I understand. I understand. that looting is good in Goryo's decks. I understand it flips Tamiyo. Okay, need to dodge double snare or counterspell, force of negation, I guess. Fable is historic for Basim. I know the synergies, chat. I need to know what cards you're gonna cut. All right, 1 snare. I need to dodge second snare or force of negation. Nice. So we're going to be at 25 life. Still have our land drop available. A block would be kind of interesting. Caustic with the 38. Thank you. Welcome back. All right, so they do chump. We gain 7. Then they fatal push their own frog. Wow, what a play. Okay, so we draw 7. Right now we only have 2 mana post Griselbrand here. We should be able to go to 4 life like really comfy against Frog though. I draw only 1 more Mox. I have discarded a card this turn for the Asmo. So I want to go Asmo. Do I want to search another cookbook? I already have another cookbook in my hand, so I think the answer is just going to be a no for me here. Although I guess if they have the force of negation for this cookbook, which we've already rolled out force of negation, so never mind on that front. Let's kill this, and then let's think about if we want to go. We can't go Amber or Emry because it's blue mana. Okay, so we can just pass. We've got Cauldron, Griselbrand coming next turn. We could put that on a frog potentially. Well, I guess our left total is a bit too low, honestly, for that next turn. discarding too many lands can make a Borborygmos victory route a little bit difficult. That might be just okay here. Doesn't really seem like we'll need the Borborygmos victory route. Soul Spike 2 win more. I mean, we have Sheoldred as our Soul Spike effect. We also have Cauldron for the Asmo ability. No cookbook package for Tommy Ragavan, Faithless Persist. Well, the cookbook package right now is 7 cards, 3 cookbooks, 4 Asmos, so that's not it's not quite enough. Also, like if you play Saga still, you have to play a cookbook, and it's like I would say 6 cards generously. Want to put it together? Yeah, go ahead and put it together. Don't really know how they beat a Saga token here. Archon over Griselbrand. Yeah, like you're just building a completely different deck, Supreme. That's totally fine. I encourage you to do so if you feel like that would be better. But you're just building a completely different deck. Yeah, you're close to 30 cards different at this point, which is the entire deck. I think you've just kept the frogs. This is a card people put in their deck. I put in my deck last week, actually. You see Song of Creation came in second in the challenge. I did not see that. Interesting. Okay, the frog has been unearthed. Good chance I'm getting a Mox Opal here. So I'm gonna play an Emry to like be mana neutral with this Amber, maybe mana positive with second Amber. See if I mill over the Borborygmos for the Cauldron, which I did not do. Play a new Cauldron. 8 + 5, I guess is not quite lethal. So let's Cauldron Asmo. There's 3 Fatal Push in the yard, so it's not, and they have 1 card in their hand, so not very likely we get Fatal Pushed here. We're not dead if they do, anyways. Play a second Emry. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be able to kill their frog with my Asmode construct, and then I'm gonna play a second frog so I can block their flyer and not be dead to a Bowmaster. And I'll say that this is the big selling point of the deck, in my opinion. Like, the ability to just have Frog, Basim, Emry, Asmo, Urza Saga as the plan B instead of just being all in and just being like a Dimir Reanimator deck that's very weak to any piece of graveyard hate. You just have like your infinite plan Bs, and I think that there's I don't know how subtle this is, but like the overlapping synergy of like the Cauldron plan being good with most of these cards, and then the Moxin enabling you to go Sheoldred and to win the game with Bobo, to me is very interesting. We are going to pivot into the monuments. I'm glad we get to bring these in. I do think, seeing Halo Forger, I want to bring in the Nihil Spellbomb. I might even want to bring in the Shadowspear. Although I think I probably won't because we've got the Asmo plan here. Yeah, I think I might just cut Bobo, since I think if we can get a Griselbrand going, that's just going to be good enough most of the time. And if we're going to cut Bobo, we can cut the Sheoldreds, which are kind of bad against them anyways. And I think we can cut the 4th Mox Amber, and I think we're going to cut the 4th Goryo's Vengeance, which is a bit weird, but we still have the 3 Cauldrons. Have you had Grizzle Asmo themselves to heal 6? Not recently, but it is on my radar. Is the plan A fast enough versus combo? Well, we can win on turn 1 in theory. We can win on turn 2 and turn 3 like somewhat often too. So yes. Don't bring in Ashiok against Dimir Murktide. Subscribe for these modern tips. Don't do it. Okay, on the draw, let's keep this one. I'm probably leading on Saga turn 1 to try to get Cookbook Monument going, although maybe if I'm fearing counter magic, that's not a good plan. If I draw land, I might want to play Frog turn 2 anyways, into Monument. Okay, let's do that. So they Thoughtseize me. 2 explosives main deck seem interesting. Wait, you want in this deck? You want to play explosives? Like we're a Mox Cookbook deck. I don't know. A lot of wild suggestions today. They take the Cauldron, so they probably have a push for the Frog or a Snare. Okay, don't need another land anymore. I think we do still play the Frog. I feel like a more realistic decision should be a Bird Bones. Yeah, I mean, the reality is there's been a lot of just suggesting the normal ass Goryo's cards, and the reality is if you want to have this plan B and you want to have all the Mox in, you just can't. There's just not room to include all of these options as much as I wish that it was possible. The problem is not identifying the normal good reanimator cards. I know that Faithless Looting and Improv Bones can go in this archetype, but the problem is identifying how to meaningfully include these cards in the most optimal way. And I'm really excited about this build, and I believe in it. Yo, Tara, welcome. I think this monument's just too likely to resolve to not jam here. If they have a Consign, it's kind of bad. Okay, but yeah, it's just not that likely. It's an Oculus? They do have an Oculus. All right, let's keep Basim. I'm going to grab a cookbook to go with my monument, of course. We can also Cauldron the Frog to go with the monument. So far, I am liking Basim more than Tamiyo. Gonna draw a card here. Asmo would be nice. That's not too shabby if we could mill an Asmo or a Griselbrand here. Nice. So we did mill an Asmo. I only have 1 food right now, so I'm gonna Cauldron the Frog before I Cauldron the Asmo, so I can discard the Watery Grave to draw a card on my opponent's turn. Yeah, I did see Mitoya, or however you say that card. I think it is interesting. Was interesting. Notably, maybe they thought about attacking for Revolt to Fatal Push Emry. So we can kill the Oculus this turn, assuming that... Okay, they discard Crashing Footfalls. Yeah, we could just discard as many cards as we want because we've got a Frog Cauldron, so we could discard Cookbook pretty comfy. Now, do I want to get aggressive? I can get in. If they block, I can discard a card, deal them 3. I guess it was probably better to play a Monument to Endurance first. And I could just kill them. So I could just kill them. Great. If you had 2 cookbooks, you could be generating an Asmo activation each cycle. I just don't think that's that important. I can still do that with the Emry activation, or like cast some, or get something next turn. So they bargain in response. Let's Cauldron Asmo in response because they don't have Revolt for Fatal Push. So did they find a counterspell for the Monument? They did not, so we just go discard an Emry, deal you 6. And then on their turn, we do that again. I do think the Monuments are really important in the sideboard. It's just like, there's just a lot of matchups you want to pivot more into the plan B. Could have drawn first. I could have, I guess. Because this one hadn't drawn a card yet. It would have net us a treasure token too. Are they only casting footballs by suspending it? No, they Halo Forager it. Cool game. It becomes really big. It makes a bunch of mana, and it deals damage to your opponent. And it enables Flame of Anor, and it casts Flame of Anor. It makes any combination. So I don't know. Yes, I do like this card. It's a little bit weird to evaluate. Ooh, actual old school Murktide. Digital release is like the 10th. Okay. Yeah, I think that this will be a really good complement to, I think that this makes Amber Wizards a thing. Just being completely all in on on that stuff. Although maybe that's already good. Do they hit a Psychic Frog? It's possible we should be exploring that shell anyways. Asmo's also a wizard. Yeah, cause there's some Cauldron synergies with it too. Might be good in this deck. Just cast Griselbrand with it. Domain Zoom. See what seeing it do I want them to discard their entire hand to save a frog? And I kind of don't. I don't think I'm actually doing very well against that. Makes me red mana. Yeah. Cast. You can spend 4 mana, 4 black mana. Agent 35. Welcome back. If you have 2 VVs under Cauldron, can you use the ability twice? No. I don't believe so. Okay, they flipped over an Emry, which they can't cast. They might be interested in casting it if they could because of the Flash. I would guess yes. Yeah, it might actually work that way. It's kind of weird. I think I want to get the frog down here. Since we have to draw Cauldron too, because if I can Cauldron the Griselbrand, I just win by discarding and killing them. Not very good against binding. I guess you could do it. Are there any other creatures like that or abilities like that that work that way? Yeah, like what if you double grist? Can you activate grist twice? How do I not know that? They flip over a Bauble. With loot, you get multiple activations of the exhaust abilities. Huh. I guess I didn't think it would work that way. Grist, no, because it's a loyalty card. Okay. If you find an Asmo or a Cauldron or a Goryo's off this Amber, we're in good shape. Well, they probably just have more interaction here. Basim is continuing to be better than Tamio, though. Do you think we're probably still going to lose this game? Comes up in Yaga Acacia with Wall of Roots. If you have 2 walls, you can activate its ability twice. Interesting. They hit a Basim. I guess Asmo doesn't really save me anymore anyways, but... Alright, to game 2 we go. Oh, I guess I should have saved Cookbook, so if I drew a land, I could try to draw into Goryo's, although we didn't have enough life, really. Guess we could have blocked. Alright, do I want Monuments against Domain Zoo? I think the answer is yes, because they tend to be pretty, they tend to be pretty graveyard hate heavy post board. I want to be cutting the Sheoldreds anyways. So let's do the same sideboard plan we did against Frog. Consign is decent. I don't think there's room to bring in the Consigns also. I know it's decent. We do have Shadowspear plus Asmo to deal with Scion of Draco. Now I'm thinking about the double Cauldron ability thing. Probably not that important to obsess over. Wrap with the 20 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Double Undercity Sewers, huh? Is Sorin any good? Yeah, you could. Sorin is interesting. The problem is like it only combo kills if you don't attack with Griselbrand. But I did have Sorin in some drafts. I think I have too many engine cards. I'm a little too stumbly here, so I'm gonna bottom that. So if I go Urza Saga Cookbook, discard Under Sewers, Mox Opal, I can then go Basim, Amber, draw a card? Oh, I guess I do need to discard if I want to draw the card. Nice. Good draw. I've ever revisited the Sorin Necro Nourishing Shoal deck. A couple times. It's a pretty awkward deck. I really wish you could combine that deck with Goryo somehow, but of course Necro exiling your own graveyard is so awkward. But it's possible that is just fine, and if you can just be in on Necro or you can be in on Goryo's in any given game. Why not play Asmo? I want to save it for the Basim draw next turn. It might have been better to cast it, but I think I want to save it for the Basim draw. Especially like if I'm going to be discarding cards to Asmo every turn, like making sure I draw a card next turn is nice, and then it also means I can draw another card the following turn. With the cookbook. I guess I did draw another cookbook. Am I playing this? I think I'm holding it. The cookbook ego 1000 triggers. Okay, sure. Then yeah, we should have cast it last turn. For some reason, I don't know. I was just thinking I want to hold it for the trigger, but you're right. There's also something to be said for the fact that like if we hold Asmo, it can come down and kill something immediately. Like if you play the Asmo and it dies to removal spell, you don't get to kill something for it. I do think we should have played it this game or last turn, but you do have to think about that too. Like Asmo's like a 2-for-1 when this happens, and it's a 1-for-1 or kind of when it doesn't. And I think it's awesome that we get to like totally be sidestepping this Nihil Spellbomb in our Goryo's deck here. We get the Bauble, I think. I want to play as well around a sweeper as I can. I'm still going to be casting this to draw a card and grow this construct. Right now, this is 13 damage, so they do have to use a removal spell, so if they're trying to save up for a sweeper, they're dead. Kind of unclear. Now, do I want to bring in a Pithing Needle for the Nihil Spellbomb? I think, no. I think, like, with being a Cauldron Goryo's deck, you can play around Nihil Spellbomb kind of easy. And I'm a little bit worried about playing more into, like, their artifact sweepers. And our plan B just can't win enough at the time, too. Yeah, I wonder if you could just be Goryo's Necro somehow. It's like I've always shied away from that idea because I probably should keep this where we have Emry plus Goryo's on, like Emry turn 2 could just mill over something. Plus we have the Sewers to mill over something. I've always shied away from that idea because Necro exiles your graveyard, but it might just be, there is just a lot of overlapping synergy between like the Soul Spike plan. Might be good. Consign for Draco Binding. What would you cut for it? Because I don't think there's room. As always, or like with this deck, even more so than others, even. What you would cut to making changes is really important because it's very very tight list full of different stuff, and so like if we want to have the plan of Goryo's and the plan of like the artifact Asmo stuff, it's very tough to also have like reactive cards like Consign. So that's why I didn't bring it in. So Hasted Ragavan off of Arena instead of Dashed. They flip over an Emry. I would love to draw a Mox Opal. Not quite that lucky. Happy enough to draw this Saga though. I'm going to go Basim into Mox Amber and see what we draw. Draw Watery Grave. I'm probably blocking the Ragavan if they give me the opportunity. They play another copy of Arena of Glory. Maybe these lands should have been legendary. Alright, so they have only 2 cards left in their hand. They did take a mulligan to 6. They hit me with Ragavan. They flip over an Asmo. I don't think they've discarded any cards this turn. I draw another copy of Goryo's Vengeance. Well, if I mill over a Griselbrand, we can cast a Goryo's Vengeance this turn. So let's see if that happens. That did happen. We do have to go down to 13. I could have played around this by... Oh, I should have just played Saga first to play around it. Sorry. I thought I was choosing to play Saga after getting the info, but no, that just would have been better. I'm always going to draw 7, so let's just do this. If they have Binding, then, you know, we just go from there. They don't have Binding, which is good news. Draw a couple interesting cards here. Now, do I want to just go from here? I guess what's awkward about just going from here is I don't really have a lot going on. Yeah, let's draw 7. I don't know. It's maybe a little risky for no reason. Okay, now so I have 3 Moxen. I have 3 Moxen. So let's go cast Cookbook. Discard Griselbrand. Cast an Asmo. Grab a Cookbook. Grab a Moxen. And I think chat is going to be pretty excited about this. You get to gain 7 by having Griselbrand deal 6 to himself. Or sorry, gain 6, sorry. Don't see that every day. Yeah, we got the Tamios for Basims. Like, flipping Tamio on when you Cauldron it into a Griselbrand was pretty awkward. And Basim just draws cards without the mana cost. It also puts counters on itself, which is nice. It contributes to your plan B, being resilient to Graveyard Hate better. I think it just does everything better. Okay, so they can exile my Griselbrand with the Territorial Kavu. So I have 2 Griselbrands and a Bobo left in my deck. They have a Flage on top. So putting a Shadowspear on this Asmo could be a priority. So let's play Basim. Let's play a Shadowspear, draw a card, see if we find like Griselbrand. Let's play Emry, see if we find like Griselbrand. Okay. So I'm going to want to make 2 food tokens. I think we'll discard the Opal and a Cookbook. Equip here. Now, if I kill the Kavu, I just want to make sure I'm putting as few cards in my opponent's graveyard as I can because of the Arena of Glory Flage. So I'm just going to wait till the beginning of combat to kill this, probably. Stacking Necro for Besiege. Yeah, maybe. I know people are always so excited about Besiege. I'm a little less excited. Yeah, if they had another Surveil land and we killed this, and another land, they could have gone for it. Okay, but now this is dead. Don't really need this Emry. I'll probably blocking with that if they attack. Oh, sorry about that. Why no Oval Chase? There's just not room. Like, one thing too is it's like when you have Griselbrand going, like you have plenty of cards to discard. You don't need the Oval Chase for this game plan as much. I had Oval Chase in a draft. You need the Sheoldreds for your combo turns. So it's just like tell me like any card you could cut for Oval Chase, and I'd love to hear it. And this is always it's always like true that I'm looking for feedback and I'm looking for suggestions on what you would change to the list if you want to make your suggested change. But for this one, like I know about Oval Chase Daredevil, I know about Faithful Suiting, I know about Emperor Bones, I know about Tamio. I know all of these cards could go in. This is, in my opinion, the optimal way to build the stack. I'm very excited about it, but I would just need to hear your feedback on what you would change to add your suggestion if you think it's better than any card I have here. Trying to help you, encourage you to look at the list and consider it for yourself. And I think that's a good exercise in general. I feel like I'm going to entomb Borborygmos here. I don't know why, I could just feel it coming. Okay. My spidey senses are off. Although this is kind of a nice draw where I can go next turn Saga, Cookbook, Opal, Frog. And then I can make a Saga token the following turn. Although it seems maybe I'm running into a Wrath Disguise deck. I think I'm still taking this line. If they do Wrath Disguise me, I still have Frog in play. Yeah, we've talked some about Phoenix Down, like buying back like an Urza or Gear Hulk, or fetching it with Gear Hulk, or tapping it to Urza seems kind of interesting. I'm not necessarily like blown away by this card, but it does seem cool. All right, Griselbrand. I think I'm going to keep the second Goryos and the Watery Grave in my hand instead of casting the Asmo this turn. I probably can't beat Wrath of Skies anyways, but in theory committing is kind of tough. But I also just want 2 Goryos for when I do draw the Griselbrand, you know what I mean? Okay, so let's grab Bauble. I'm gonna cast the Asmo this turn, largely so that if they do Wrath the Skies, I have the ability to have a cookbook in my hand for the Goryo's Vengeances. Now, they could have Wrath the Skies, but they don't have double white mana. They missed their land drop last turn. So what I do not want to see when I crack this Bauble is a white source. I was not expecting to see that. I don't know how to react to that one. Okay, interesting they chose to just take 6 instead of casting the Binding on the Construct so they could get rid of the Asmo. Not a bad draw. Main deck Brotherhood End. Fuck me, I guess. What the hell? Guess it's not that different from Wrath the Skies, but sheesh. Their hand is Dryad, 4 mystery cards. What is this? Another binding. Griselbrand. I'd like to redact that fuck me. A younger version of myself made that comment, and it was premature and, quite frankly, irresponsible. What you know about Bobo? You know I got a Goryo's Bobo, not Cauldron it. Cool. Started this turn with 2 lands and a cookbook in play. So we're up against Bring to Light Scapeshift. Always funny when Ashiok gets in. I'm going to cut the Asmos, I guess. Did I cast 3 Goryos? Yeah. I drew up basically my whole deck. Kind of like the idea of playing exactly 1 Monument to Endurance. It's a bit weird, I guess, when we cutting the Asmos, actually. I'll play 1 Asmo. Like, I just love that this deck can do that. Draw your entire deck and Borborygmos your opponent, and also have, like, a really good fair plan Bs. Like, you just don't see that very often. Although you do hear me stutter every day. Alright. This is a good hand. Alright. Take the end, I guess. You've got plenty of lands, so you could just hit every land drop the whole game, I guess. I guess they clicked away with the Heath, and then they put it right back in their hand, huh? Yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident Basim is better than Tamio, y'all. Plan B Monument only works with 2 cookbooks. I wouldn't say that. Like, the Monument Plan B is, I would say, good in general, but it works with Frog. We have 3 cookbooks in the main. You have Saga for cookbook. You can Cauldron Frog, cast Asmo, Asmo cookbook, Frog, Asmo cookbook. So... Can we add Basim to all the decks? I wish. So I can go Thoughtseize my Sheoldred, but I can hit my land. Yeah, I can't quite Goryo's the Sheoldred. So I need to hit another Mox in, which I do not do. So if I hit my opponent and then I draw 7, the Sheoldred's still not going to be good enough, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lands in my hands. So that's 12, and there, yeah. So if I find 1 Moxen in my next 7 cards, I kill them. Although I guess actually what I need to do is I need to fetch my basic swamp. Oh, I need to play my land, so I actually find land plus Moxen, which should be, it's very likely. I'm going to go for it here. Kind of dead to the Ren and 6 if I miss on a Mox. Okay. Did find it. Oh, sorry, I forgot about this loop though. I should show this off, I guess. But we actually can do more than this. Because you can go Cauldron, discard Borborygmos. And then you can Cauldron Borborygmos instead of Goryosing it, which allows us to gain life with the Griselbrand, which in theory would allow us to deal extra damage if we didn't have enough lands. We do have enough lands here, but I think it's good to show off this line. That this loop is just going to allow you to pretty often, like we could maybe cast Sheoldred after this, you know. All right, let's get a 4-1 prediction going. Like, despite being a really aggressive combo deck, we've won most of our games via the plan B. Okay, might be a little slow against Titan. A Sheoldred in the graveyard does speed us up a bit, though. Titan doesn't usually play Misty Rainforest, so what's going turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Misty? What matchups to the Monument for? Dimir, Control, and Ketramos. So, like, not the most common decks, but I think they're common enough. I want this sideboard plan, and we did beat Dimir today with it. Is this Song of Creation? It is Song of Creation. Cool. Someone was just talking about how this did well in the challenge. I'm kind of tempted to try to Goryo's Sheoldred here, but let's play a frog. Yeah, Bruteskull doesn't usually play Misty Rainforest. They usually play Vista if they're going to play a Fetch Land. Yeah, that was blanks. Oh, this is the gamer who did well in the challenge. Cool. Cool. They see most black-white decks are putting up results going back to Recruiter Vial. I have seen that, yeah. Playing a Jace. I'll say that I don't really think... Thank you, opponent, for the Jace bill! Like, I don't think that Recruiter Vial is the solution as much as, like, it's like probably it's a little bit better position. Actually, although the thing is, like, Boros and Prowess are so popular, I would think that with those being so popular, you want to be on Ketramos still. But the Recruiter Vial gamers are a vindictive bunch. They really, really, really want to be right. So who am I to get in the way of that? Three Moxen, or 4 Moxen, although I can't get Metalcraft. No Bauble, no Cookbook. Can't play the Cauldron. So let's just go to combat. If they had attacked with the Tomio, they'd be dead to my frog, of course. Ketramos isn't online fast enough to beat Prowess. It's better against Prowess than Recruiter of the Guard and Aether Vial. What are we talking about? And it is all, if you have Relic, it is online fast enough. Land Amber. Well, we can cast the Cauldron. Okay, you're right. So I guess we do just have The win, probably. Let me draw 7 more. Sorry, for some reason I forgot the Amber was online. Okay, so we go Cauldron, and then we go Cauldron on Borborygmos onto the Griselbrand, and I'm glad we just showed off this technology. I wonder if we're supposed to be more in on the Borborygmoses because of this this tech. I don't know. The Sheoldreds like also are part of the Plan B, so it's a little bit weird. Nice. Okay, so we're up a game against Song of Creation combo. Probably just want the Thoughtseizes. I want to leave in the Sheoldred. Sheoldred is like just also 4 mana to win the game against them, basically. I think I want to go down an Asmo, down the Bauble. We're not going to be too grindy. Can probably trip a Cookbook. I think do it on 2 Asmos. Might be good if you could fit an extra Bobo. You could maybe play 3 Bobos, 4 Griselbrands. How's this name? Mox Opal, Cauldron, Goryos, and not Basim's Cauldron Cookbook. Well, with the Basims, we're kind of we had Tomio at first. We cut them for Basims. The Basims have been better. That is a good deck name. So we probably have a turn 3 win here. Why is this so tough? Yeah, I think if they like play a Rumble next turn, I kind of just need to Thoughtseize them so they can't kill me. I think second Bobo makes sense, not sure what to cut. Well, the thing is, like, because you're playing Sheoldreds, in theory, the Sheoldreds let you draw into the Bobo basically every game. And also, because you have such a juicy Plan B and frogs and stuff, you don't always need to Bobo your opponent. But I don't know, it's definitely a conversation. So they milled 2 Song of Creations, which is interesting. I guess I'm just going to play this frog. This deck looks too consistent. Can use both free mana spell and modern. I agree that this deck is dangerous and powerful. It took a little bit of convincing this morning, I think, for people to be on board with that, but I agree this deck is exciting and powerful. There's a good chance it's the best Opal, Amber, Emry shell. I think it's better to go for Cauldron Griselbrand. Well, so I would want to do that so I could go Emry for 1 mana next turn. Yeah. It takes a skilled pilot to do well with it, in my opinion. I mean, I would say that this is true of every good deck in Modern. They have Otawara, so we would have been better off Goryo's Vengeancing. Aside from Frog, what about Plan B? So they only avoid Basim, Asmo, Sheoldred, Urza Saga. And they had the 3rd Song of Creation, so we'll see if we're dead. Yeah, I know they play Endurance, which is part of the reason why I wanted to play the Cauldron. I thought this was better into Endurance. Should have Otawara the Cauldron. Yeah, they should have. Or maybe they're scared of the Frog for some reason, but probably better to go up to the Cauldron. What's going on in Italy? Call the Affinity? Yeah, Mingu lives there. Mingu's a known Affinity enjoyer. Okay, so we go Frog, discard, and Emry. We have Griselbrand online once this resolves. If they, I guess they have no cards in their hand, but if they did, we could Griselbrand in response. So down to 4 cards. There's another Griselbrand, and then there's the Bobo. So we can go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's only 18 damage. Oh wait, that's 16. That's 18 damage. We could also Goryo's the Griselbrand, though, which is going to be, I think, my move. And then I'll go discard the Bobo, put the Bobo with Cauldron onto the Griselbrand. You can swing a frog? No, I played the frog this turn. They out-award it last turn. Okay, so 0-1 into 4-1 this league, and we 1-2 dropped the first one. So that's 5 and 3. I want to keep going. I'll say that these Goryo's decks, like you need to get a bigger sample size with them to really show them off, because they are so swingy. And I'm like very happy with the 75, and I really believe in the deck, so I think I'm gonna play another league. Like, I think it took me about this 2.5 hours for people to start believing here. See, first they had no cards in their hand.